Michael Vonnen. Welcome to the Tolkien Lore Channel. I'm the Tolkien Geek, and at the very beginning, roughly of April 2018, a couple of interesting news items dropped in the Tolkien world, and I want to talk about those. One is an update regarding the Amazon Lord of the Rings based series, and another is some brand new news that I won't spoil till I get there. So let's get started. So starting off with the Amazon TV series, one of the pieces of news that came out regarding that is that they are committed to 5 seasons, and that seems like quite a lot of material to me. I mean, if you're going to cover pre-Lord of the Rings material, that's that's a lot of stuff to cover because there's not a whole lot of information out there. So either they're planning to do very, very large amounts of creative, creation of their own, basically to fill in lots of gaps, or it seems like maybe that would be like an anthology series with each season dealing with a slightly different topic. I'm not sure the anthology series fits though, because another piece of news that came with that was that apparently the talks included the potential for a spin-off, whatever that means. So it doesn't make much sense to say that there's a spin-off if the first one isn't kind of a coherent whole. So not really clear exactly what that means, but they're definitely looking at something big, and the news report indicated that estimated costs for producing the series are in the neighborhood of $1 billion. So, there's some big stuff going on, whatever it is they're planning. Another interesting piece of information that came out about it at the same time, they're apparently in talks with Peter Jackson. He wasn't part of the original deal, but apparently they are having some dialogue with Peter Jackson at this point. That could mean any number of things. It could mean that he has some interest. It could mean that they're just reaching out to him. Could mean that he wants to direct. Could mean he wants to produce. Who knows exactly what that entails. I don't necessarily think it would be a bad thing for Peter Jackson to be involved, because I do think of all the potential people you could get involved. He does clearly have a lot of affection for the source material, and I think that's a good thing. The Lord of the Rings movies, I have my beefs with them, but probably not too many people would have done a better job than he did. So if he's involved early enough in the process and doesn't get dropped, into it at the very end like he did with The Hobbit, I think he could be a net plus to the series. Related to that piece of news also is a provision that the series can use material, which is not really defined, from the movies. That could be footage, it could be props, who knows? I mean, if it's props, and they're doing like an Aragorn series, they could throw in the shards of Narsil. If it's, clips from the movie, then they could show, not flashbacks, but flash forwards, or maybe they, use the introduction, the very beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring, to give a backdrop to some other things like that. So, who knows what that means, but that's kind of what we know about the new series coming. There is one more piece of information actually. Apparently, the deal requires that they get started in production within 2 years, or the rights revert back to the estate. So Amazon is going to have to move quickly, which means we'll probably know more about it sooner rather than later. So stay tuned for more on that. Now let's go to the potentially more exciting news. Okay, I said I didn't want to spoil this news, but obviously it's kind of in the title. There's rumors of a theme park based on The Lord of the Rings. Now, that's been talked about before in the past and mostly poo-pooed, or else, just never came to fruition. The current news comes from a blog called Disney and More, and I'll link to the actual story in the description. But the story basically says that they've got this insider source with Universal Studios Orlando, and Universal Studios Orlando has apparently just bought 570 acres worth of land and is allegedly building a 4th park. They've already got 2 parks and a water park in the area, and apparently they're going to build a 4th park under the code name Project 314. Some of the more confirmed ideas for what they're doing with this are the Nintendo Land, which everybody kind of knew was already in production if you follow that sort of thing. Probably some more Harry Potter related stuff, possibly also Jurassic World. But the insider source that revealed this to the Disney and More blog apparently said that a Lord of the Rings themed land is being highly considered as a fourth area in the park. So does that mean that they already have rights, or that they're in very, very good negotiations to get rights to build a Lord of the Rings theme park? Who knows what that means exactly, but it seems to indicate that they at least have a pretty good idea that they could if they really wanted to. Now, one of the things that goes along with that, and it kind of makes sense, they've already got their Wizarding World over in their main park, and apparently again planning to add more Harry Potter related stuff in the new park. And you can tell that Universal is definitely going after very highly themed lands. The Nintendo Land, Jurassic World. They're very much focusing on franchises. They're looking to really create some immersive experiences to kind of compete with Disney World. So it would make sense for Lord of the Rings to be a step in that direction if they can do it. So big news there potentially, and allegedly they're hoping to have the park done in about 5 years, so we may get more news within the next couple of years that's a little more concrete. Now, before I close out the video, I do want to kind of give my thoughts on what I would like to see if they do a Lord of the Rings theme park, so let's talk about that. Now, of course, everything is speculation at this point. We don't even know for sure that there's going to be a Lord of the Rings theme park, but my thoughts on the idea are I don't want it to be a typical theme park. So, you get, rides and things like that, and that's all fine. I'm not, and by the way, take this with a huge grain of salt. I'm not a huge theme park person. Um, Rides are not what appeal to me. I'm into Lord of the Rings because it's an immersive world that you can really lose yourself in, and that's not exactly what theme parks do, although Disney and Universal have both been trying to do that a little more lately with very highly themed parks. And in that vein, that's kind of the direction I hope they would take of Lord of the Rings themed area, more of an immersive experience than, something that's just kind of like a Six Flags where you just have lots of different rides and attractions. That's not to say that I don't want any attractions, but the main point being I want the attractions to be more immersive and less just passive entertainment. What I would like to see would be less rides and more interactive things where you can, go on quests and do things. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have any rides at all because, like some of the slow rides that you can bring kids on, like in Disney World, that would be more appropriate for younger members of the family probably. And so that, I'm not saying they shouldn't do any of that, but I think for purposes of bringing a Lord of the Rings theme park to fruition, I think what you would want to do for the real fans of the work, especially for fans of the novel, and not necessarily as much for the movies, which admittedly are more action oriented and therefore would more appeal to somebody who would like a traditional theme park, probably. Um, but if you really want to appeal to the fans of the novels and why they like the novels, then I think you would really want to bring in some kind of interactive attraction that would allow you to be part of the story, so to speak. So, something where you can go on a quest to, reach Mount Doom, or, to find the ring or something like that. I mean, I'm not creative enough to really give any specific ideas as to what Universal Studios should do, but my gut feeling is that more immersive experience would be the order of the day than just throwing rides and putting Lord of the Rings theming on them. They're going to need to go a little beyond that for it to be a truly Lord of the Rings themed experience. I mean, if you want to, you could just put a minecart ride in and make that the dwarves escape from Goblin Town from The Hobbit, and that's cool, I guess, but it's not, I mean, you're just throwing a theme on top of a roller coaster and calling it a day. I don't think that's going to be enough. They're going to have to do some more stuff. Now, there's some obvious theming that you could do with non-attractions, like food locations. You could have a prancing pony or a green dragon. That's easy, and again, that's kind of one of those where the theming is kind of just slapped on, but there's not much more you can do there. But I do think that if they want to really, really do it right, they're going to need to put at least one or two main attractions in there that really pull you in as a participant rather than just a passive observer getting entertainment from somebody else. So that's kind of my general thoughts on the issue. Like I said, I'm not a huge theme park person, so take that with a grain of salt. A lot of people would probably really enjoy just a ride that has Lord of the Rings or Hobbit theming. That's for every man to his own tastes, I guess. But my take would be basically that, if I'm going to go there, I'm going to want to find something there that I can really, lose myself in, not so much just go to have another roller coaster to scream on that has, a dragon on it or whatever they decide to use for theming. So that's kind of my general thoughts. Again, it's pretty much all speculation at this stage because we don't even really know anything beyond the fact that it's being highly considered, whatever that means. But I just wanted to throw my thoughts out there. If you have any other thoughts on that topic, I'd love to hear them in the comments. So that's the big news for April 2018 in the world of Tolkien. By the way, there is also some indication that some booksellers are preparing to sell a new Tolkien book, and some people are theorizing it may be The Fall of Gondolin, but really the only thing we have to go on is that some booksellers like Amazon are listing a Tolkien book that has no title, no real information other than maybe a page count. So there's not really much to go on there. So at any rate, that's kind of the news that we have for now. So I'll go ahead and leave it here. If you want to learn more about Tolkien, keep up with news, learn more about Middle Earth or even non-Middle Earth related stuff about Tolkien, please do subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it around, and you can also follow me on Twitter at JRRTLore. Until next time, I'm the Tolkien Geek signing out for the Tolkien Lore channel. Namaste.